Welcome to the Flanderization series, as I tackle shows that have been flanderized, where the shows have gotten worse in most people's eyes. First up, The Fairly OddParents. That is one of the greatest Nickelodeon Nicktoons of all time, and one of the most popular and best cartoons of the 2000s era. The Fairly OddParents was created by the legendary Butch Hartman. The series originated from shorts on Oh Yeah Cartoons. Due to the show's popularity, it was later the green light as a half-hour series which premiered on March 30th, 2001. The show is about a miserable 10-year-old named Timmy Turner who lives in Dimsdale, California. He is blessed to have fairy godparents named Cosmo and Wanda who grants him wishes. Those wishes tend to backfire, leading Timmy and his fairies to fix everyday problems. The show became very popular and had some hit TV movies such as Channel Chasers and Timmy's Secret Wish. I love Channel Chasers. I remember watching the premiere in the summer of 2004. I just graduated from middle school and was heading to high school. I'm sure people can relate to that movie, what Timmy was going through, because Timmy didn't want to grow up because he didn't want to lose his fairies. This was me thinking that I didn't want to grow up because I was worried about puberty. And when you become an adult, being an adult is not easy because you have to worry about paying bills, of course, having responsibilities, and, all that other stuff. I mean, I even remember trying to shave and, my face and trying to shave like the body hair on my arms and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys who were teenage boys back then were probably doing the same thing when you were teenagers. And I'm sure you guys who were teenagers back then didn't want to grow up. And, especially when watching this Channel Chasers movie, you probably were like that as teenagers, Anybody remember the Breaking the Rules video game? I have this game. The Fairly OddParents became the second highest rated children's program among kids 2 to 11, behind SpongeBob. The show managed to steal SpongeBob's spot at number 1 in mid-2003. The Fairly OddParents also attract a wide audience, appealing to kids as well as to teenagers and adults. The Fairly OddParents originally ended in 2006, but revived. Then it ended again. Then revived again. Long story short, it was canceled 5 times. It seemed like the show was trying to keep up with SpongeBob, which obviously was not going to happen because it's SpongeBob. SpongeBob is literally the mascot of Nickelodeon, the golden boy. Well, mainly the golden sponge of Nickelodeon. So no matter how hard the Fairly OddParents tried to keep up with SpongeBob, it just wasn't going to happen. The show started going downhill when the existence of Poof happened. And Fairly Odd Baby, Cosmo and Wanda want a baby. So Cosmo ends up pregnant. Last time I checked, men don't get pregnant. So why was Cosmo pregnant instead of Wanda, who was actually a woman? The only time when men get pregnant is only when they get a beer belly. Was this supposed to be a joke where the people of the Fairly OddParents was like, yeah, obviously men can't get pregnant, but having Cosmo pregnant in the Fairly Odd Baby would be funny. Yeah, okay. A lot of people did not care for Poof. He was just a baby who would cause problems where Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda had to fix it. Poof would also say his name like this: Poof, Poof, as if he's a Pokemon, a Poke Fairy. Who's that Poke Fairy? It's Poof, Poof, Poof. I didn't care for Poof, and I don't care that he's a baby. I just never cared for Poof. Then here comes Sparky. A lot of fans of the show did not like Sparky. Honestly, I didn't mind Sparky, but some did not care for him. Maybe it's because they did not find him funny, or they just did not care for him. And they probably felt that he was not needed in the show. So I get why people didn't like Sparky. And if that is the case, and if that's how you really feel about Sparky, then so be it. It is what it is. Lastly, there was Chloe Carmichael. Many fans viewed her as obnoxious, a loudmouth, and Little Miss Perfect. Some have warmed up to her due to her perfect traits being toned down in subsequent episodes. Now, just like Sparky, I had nothing against Chloe. But why was she needed in the show? In fact, why was Poof, Sparky, and Chloe needed in the show in general? Poof, Sparky, and Chloe were probably brought into the Fairly OddParents due to low ratings. Okay, well, the Fairly Odd Parents may have had low ratings, but that doesn't mean you have to bring in new characters as if that's going to solve your problems. Like that's going to cause the show to get better, which it did not. Eventually, the series ended up with the Flash animation like Johnny Test, that Doodle Bops cartoon, etc. The Flash animation was not needed, and the original animation was just fine. Absolutely perfect. Chloe also shares Cosmo and Wanda with Timmy. Why? I thought every miserable child has two fairy godparents, meaning other children don't share their fairies with other children. And Chloe doesn't seem like she was miserable at all. I mean, Chloe was pretty much like Natasha Bedingfield's song Pocket Full of Sunshine. That's what Chloe was. She had that pocket full of sunshine personality. But apparently it seems like Chloe tends to mess up, and when she tends to try to fix things or try to make things better, it ends up going terribly wrong for her, and she feels like whatever she does, she always messes up, and it causes her to be miserable. And so it sounds like that's why she ended up sharing her fairies with Timmy. But again, why does she have to share fairies with Timmy? Why couldn't she have her own fairies? And either way, I still don't think she needs fairy godparents, okay? Despite, her trying to fix things and then she messes up. There was also the Flanderization of the characters. Timmy goes from a good-hearted kid to a selfish and bratty jerk. Cosmo. Oh boy. Cosmo. Now, of course, at the beginning of the Fairly Odd Parents, pretty much since the Oh Yeah cartoons, Cosmo was actually smart. He didn't come off as an idiot. And that was back when Cosmo had a deeper voice. His voice made you think as if he was one of those old school news reporters or come off as a talk show host. Like his voice was perfect for television or even radio. But then they changed his voice where he had a high-pitched voice. And that's when he pretty much started off becoming idiotic. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Cosmo's high-pitched voice, even though some people probably think it was annoying. But his high-pitched voice made him even funnier. Listening to his high-pitched voice was just so funny. And he was definitely funny when he became idiotic. But Cosmo pretty much was Flanderized even worse, where he becomes completely retarded. That is just ridiculous. Cosmo pretty much ended up with the Peter Griffin syndrome. What is that? The Peter Griffin syndrome is pretty much characters who were always idiotic characters or become idiotic characters eventually, but then they go from idiotic to pretty much retarded. This is what happened to Peter when Family Guy was revived back in 2005, where he goes from just an idiotic character to literally retarded. And it seems like since then, other characters from other shows have pretty much become retarded, just like Patrick and SpongeBob and Cosmo of the Fairly Odd Parents. It's like somebody from the Fairly Odd Parents thought it was a great idea to have Cosmo become idiotic. They thought it was a great idea to have Cosmo become retarded. Have you noticed that Peter from Family Guy has become retarded? Yeah, they've done the same thing with Patrick on SpongeBob. Hey, you know what we should do? We should make Cosmo retarded. Oh my God, yes, I was thinking of that. Him being retarded would be so funny. It would make the show even better. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Like, no. Cosmo becoming retarded just made it even worse. Just because Peter became retarded doesn't mean other characters from other shows have to become retarded as well. Just no. Then there's Wanda. Wanda has been Flanderized into a nagging wife. Now, Wanda was always a nagging wife in the earlier Fairly Odd Parents seasons, but as the seasons went on, she just becomes even more of a nagging wife. She becomes a stereotypical nagging wife. The same thing happened to Lois on Family Guy. Lois in the earlier Family Guy seasons was a nag, but as the seasons went on, she becomes even more of a nag where it drives people like Peter crazy. And it sucks that both Lois and Wanda became stereotypical nagging wives. Not to mention, it seems like Cosmo and Wanda's love for each other, it seems like it just wasn't there anymore in the later seasons. I mean, I know that they still loved each other, but the love just isn't there like it was in the earlier seasons. Like when Cosmo and Wanda Like the episode where Timmy's brain switches with Vicky's dog's brain, Doidle. Cosmo was going to miss Wanda. He started crying. Wanda was like, "Oh, what's the matter, Big Daddy?" And then she calling him Oopie and stuff. And, Cosmo singing, "I married the smart one." And then Wanda singing, "I married the... Well, he's cute, right?" And Cosmo smiling. That type of love. It's like, what happened to the love after that in the later seasons? I mean, with Cosmo being so retarded, you have Wanda having this dull look on her face, or she gets angry and has this pissed off look on her face when every time Cosmo does something or says something retarded, or she'll roll her eyes. It's like, seriously, what's up with that, Wanda? Look, I understand that you don't like the fact that your husband has become retarded, but hey, why don't you do something about it? You have a wand. You could just magically wish Cosmo to be smart. But then again, even if you do that, what if Cosmo becomes smart, but he becomes egotistic and he rubs people the wrong way? You're probably going to get to the point where we don't like him anymore, and that you wish for the old Cosmo back. So if that's the case, I'm just saying, maybe you should just accept Cosmo for who he is instead of getting pissed off and always rolling your eyes whenever he says something or does something retarded. I'm just saying. What the heck, Wanda? Get it together. Jorgen von Strangle goes from intimidating, strict authority figure to a plot device when needed to be around the show's rules. Timmy's dad goes from a bumbling dad to a retarded man-child. Yeah, he becomes retarded too, just like Cosmo. Vicky goes from bully of a babysitter to straight up evil. I mean, she was always evil, but her evilness it really went up to a whole new level. Anyways, The Fairly Odd Parents was officially canceled for good in the summer of July 26, 2017. Canceled? More like it ended, since it ended up getting milked to death. It was best that the show ended, because honestly, I thought The Fairly Odd Parents was going to run for over 20 years. I thought it was going to go The Simpsons, Family Guy, SpongeBob, South Park, and Arthur route, where they were going to run for a very long time. But had it continued, the show to this day, it would have continued being milked to death. And it also would have been unbearable to watch. So it was best that it got canceled for good. And the legacy will not be ruined. Until this abomination of a live action show existed, The Fairly Odd Parents Fairly Odder. The horror! The horror! The horror! This was not needed. Well, this has been the Flanderization series, The Fairly Odd Parents. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and tune in for the next one. Coming up next is Family Guy, followed by The Goldbergs.